going on, everybody? Hey, Brian. Hey, Antoine. And most of all, hello, Nathan. I am so glad we can make an odd second time in a week that we get to hang out for a little bit.
I know, yeah. That was a good weekend we had, where we were able to have some adventures, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see you in the same week. So it's rare, honestly. So how's everyone
Nathan,
doing?
just in case nobody got to see, Nathan was able to see the collection in person this week.
Mm-hmm. It's right there. I can almost feel it. I was almost grabbed something off the shelf.
I'll be putting a video up with what we did in the next few days, I believe. I think I have it scheduled for next Wednesday. But tonight we have all kinds of announcements to go over, and really just regular boutiques. There's not all that many, but it's the second week of the month, which means we're talking about premiums for the first time ever. Let's go over some premium stuff. Do you collect any of the premium releases? I think you have one, if I remember right.
Now, define some premium stuff for me.
Like stuff from Manta Lab, or don't you have? I think there's a box set you got from a company in China.
Are you talking about? I have this. Is that what you're talking about?
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah, Lin Skiyama from Plain Archive and the South Korean.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like kind of it's pink and blue, but yeah, it's a great box set. Yeah. So, but I am very new and only have a few. Like I said, I have one, I guess. So, I would assume you have some.
I've got a handful, and I've got some that I'm going to show to everybody. Let me get another one off the shelf. I believe both of these are ones that Nathan had catch his eye this weekend. So first one, Train to Busan, the big one-click. This has Train to Busan and Soul Station, the animated prequel thing that they made for this as well, in 3 different steelbooks in here, which is still sealed because, of course, when I got this for a really good deal, I had just watched Train to Busan. But one that I did watch right before I got this, so the outside is open, but the inside is still sealed. Patterson from Jim Jarmusch, and this set in particular, this is like a really nerdy movie to get a really nice premium release, and they did not hold back on this. We got really nice booklet that came with it as well, and then on top of that, it's an actual Jim Jarmusch steelbook on the inside, which is not something you would expect for something like this.
No.
And it's great. Plain Archive does some great work. That's the company that Nathan just showed off as well. Common companies that you'll see in the premiums, Manta Lab, Blue Fans, Plain Archive, they are sometimes difficult to get. Some of these you have to go on group buys on like Media Psychos or High Def Ninja, or I think there's 1 or 2 other smaller places that do group buys as well. But these are special. These are for the people that really appreciate the physical side of physical media, because it really enhances the movie itself. And the hard part is most of these are just the same studio discs, but either way, they're pretty. They're special.
Yeah,
they're nice.
Yeah.
So let's get into some regular stuff too. You got any pickups you want to talk about to everybody this week?
Sure. I'll do some. I have quite a bit actually, but I'll do a really quick round. I'll do the Criterions first since November is going on right now.
Perfect.
And, I got a couple actually from the flash sale that happened last month.
Nice.
But I obviously wanted to wait a little bit till November. But I got Lost Highway on 4K. That's my first one, which I've still never seen. So I'm sure a lot of people
in the
comments are like, you should watch Lost Highway. I will. So, very excited about that, for good things. I also got Arsenic and Old Lace, Frank Capra film with Cary Grant. I love Cary Grant films, and I also love Capra films. So I'm super excited about this one, just in time for the spooky season too. So this looks like a lot of fun. So
that is a remarkable release. One of my favorites of the year for sure.
Yeah, super excited about this. And now that like November's here and these types of almost like this would fit into like Noirvember a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Bridge.
It's like a perfect November 1st viewing.
Exactly. Yeah. I got Sound of Metal, which I've seen, and I really loved this movie when I watched it. Really blew me away. I have it on 4K, so super excited about that. Great release as well. So, yeah.
I still haven't seen it, and I just picked it up in the sale, and I can't wait.
It's incredible. And also it's it's about the type of music that we both like. So
Well, and maybe that's a good time. One of the things that you just recently started, Nathan just started another podcast. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
yes. So if any of you listen to kind of like the heavier music of the world, like hardcore, punk, or metal, there is a podcast that myself and my old roommate started, and it's called Scouring the Depths. And we just started our podcast about a month and a half ago, and it's fairly fresh. And so what we already did is we just started this series where we started talking about our favorite albums from 2012. So that was like 10 years ago. And so we just counted down the last few episodes, like our favorite albums of the year, or that year. And then now we're about to jump into melodic death metal. So we're about to talk about Carcass and In Flames and At the Gates and all these classic death metal albums from the 90s. And anyway, we're going to go in all different directions. It's super fun. We're going to have different themes, different spotlights, that kind of thing. But it's fun to talk about music because I don't talk about it that much. So
I agree, definitely.
Yeah.
What else we got for Criterion then?
Well, I don't want to spoil too much from our video, but I'll do a really quick flash here. Valley of the Dolls. Yeah, which I kept making a joke that it's very much like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, right? So I know it's
just
not.
A little closer.
Just a little closer. And then there is Women in the Dunes, which KB gave me a high recommendation of. I've been wanting to watch this for some time now, and very excited about that. I got Buck and the Preacher, which I have been excited about for the longest time. This is one of the Westerns I've been wanting to see for a long, long time, and now to see it on Blu-ray, it's nice. Pretty exciting. They got a lot of our friends in there. Yeah, it's nice seeing everyone. Take Out, which has a little Sean Baker action in it. So you know that guy, right?
I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Nice. Almost done. I got these last three. These are like the all the October releases, so I'll just do it at once. Cure, the Kurosawa film, the Kiyoshi Kurosawa film, Eve's Bayou, right here, and La Llorona, which I did watch and on Shudder, and I really like it. So I think it's still on Shudder. So if anyone is curious, I definitely highly recommend this Guatemalan version of La Llorona. It's very good. I like it.
Have you seen Eve's Bayou before, or is this going to be a first time watch?
First time watch.
So that movie is special, and one that I really hope people start really noticing, because it's one that kind of flew under the radar back then. Eve's Bayou is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm only going to show a handful of. I'm going to go mainstream this week because I always talk about all the boutiques. I still haven't seen it yet, but I got in the Top Gun Maverick Steelbook. Groove, the Universal storefront for the Studio Universal. I got in their exclusive 8-mile 4K Steelbook, and it's actually pretty nice. I'm kind of surprised. And of course, they still only send it in this terrible little bubble mailer, and it came fine, thankfully. I just found out
spaghetti at all.
No, it was good. No spaghetti. Mom's done with it. Clerks. I didn't realize that last year's release of Clerks includes, as oddly as this sounds, the making of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is on this disc in HD. Never heard about that. One of the patrons let me know, so I wanted to have that in HD.
I love that movie, by the way. I don't think I've ever talked about how much I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
It is so good.
I know. It's
easily one of his best.
Yeah, one of those laughs you have when you can't stop laughing. It's a silent laugh. The first time I watched that, I had a really hard silent laugh when Will Ferrell popped into that production, and he's like, you know what happens, but I could not stop laughing.
That movie is nonstop for sure. I got in Inside Man. This is one of the only Spike Lees that I didn't have, and I figured, hey, may as well get this to go with Malcolm X at the end of the month. And of course, it came in, and I thankfully have $7.50 to ride along to that I can redeem at any point.
Any point.
The hardest part, the case came in all smashed, so I got to replace this. Thankfully, I've got like 39 extras up there. And then the last one, Schwarzenegger in The Running Man 4K Steelbook just came out at Best Buy, and this is a nice steal. This is really nice.
Nice.
Criterion pickups will be in its own video, where there will be some lovely pictures of Nathan in there.
I do some modeling work sometimes. It depends on what it is.
Uh, Stan, you were not the first person that has said this. Let me hold this up again. All kinds of people have looked at this and said,
"Smile." I almost said it.
Is this for the movie Smile? Yeah.
Yeah, I almost said it.
How about some recent watches? Anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So recent, I mean, well, literally just before this, I just watched Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I like it. I'm still processing it, and obviously it's a Marvel movie, so it's kind of your standard affair. Most people know what to expect when you're watching one of those movies, but I had a really good time with it. I think that the passing of the torch is pretty well done, and then also I think that Namor was cast very, very well. That's not a spoiler if anyone.
Yeah.
It's not as he's in the movie. It's in the trailer. But yeah, it's a good movie. I quite enjoyed it. It might be one of the better films of the current iteration, the phase, or whatever you would.
I don't think that's a hard feat to pull off. Sadly,
it's not hard to do. Yeah. But yeah, so I enjoyed that, and then recently I've been watching. I'm kind of transitioning out of the spooky films a little bit into more of the noir films. But recently I have. Now I'm blanking because it's late. It's been a late day, and I'm gonna jump into my letterbox here for a second while I'm digging for things.
I'll say I've got tickets to Black Panther on Sunday, and I'm eager to go. I'm going with the friend that every time we go, we get Thai food, and then we go watch the MCU film. So it's gonna be a fun day.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's maybe a little longer than it should be, but all right, so now I can go back. I'll just talk about the last 3 films I watched. I finally watched Planet Terror for the first time. Nice.
What'd you think?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I although I expected it to be a little crazier than it was. I think Flip was just talking about that too when you had him on the other day.
Probably.
Yeah, but it's a crazy movie. It's fun though. It knows its place.
It's very fun.
Yeah. So I saw that. I also saw Marcel in the Shell. The movie finally.
Nice.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it. I got the 4K from A24, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of those movies like I feel like everyone should watch. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
For anybody that saw this and maybe didn't see, because A24 is not advertising it really well, they're selling a little Marcel the Shell statue. It's a little expensive, but it looks really nice. I got to be honest. I mean, A24 stuff is always expensive from their website, but it looks like basically it's probably like a little paperweight, but it looks to be perfect for the film.
Yeah, I kind of want to get that for Christmas. I might ask for that. That might be a fun little gift to get, and just hide in different spots. I mean, I have different little knickknacks up here already that like hide. Paddington's always hiding.
Always there.
Yeah, and so is Grogu. Right there. But anywho, and then the last movie I want to talk about, which is probably my favorite movie of the year, is The Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, nice. Josephine in the comments just said she just saw that as well.
Yeah, that movie was it floored me. But I'm already very biased because if anyone doesn't know who I am and my love of In Bruges, welcome. I love that movie so much. It's one of my favorites of all time. And so seeing the 3 of them together again, Martin McDonagh, Brendan Gleeson, and Colin Farrell, it made my heart sing. I was so happy. Although it is such a all over the place movie when it comes to emotion. So
I'm very eager to see it. I don't think I've heard anybody say a bad word about it. And that excites me, especially for following up a film like In Bruges that is way more appreciated now than it was upon release, but it's not, even when it was released, it's not like it was trashed. It was just not super embraced. And to see this get embraced, and a lot of the fans of In Bruges say this is an incredible follow-up, it's just making me feel very, very wholesome about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody, one of these, or not several of these, people involved with this film win some things going forward with this. Yeah, it's great.
I usually don't love the Oscars, even though people that are knee deep in films like us, they usually at least tangentially pay attention to the Oscars, and I don't worship them like some people, but I'm always at least sort of interested. This year, I almost feel like there's a lot to win and lose. I feel like we have some incredible standout performances. Hearing so much about the Tar performance, I've got a lot invested in hoping that Everything Everywhere wins at least 1 or 3 Oscars.
Yeah.
There's some standout male performances this year that could go any which way. And now we even have Terrifier 2 putting its name in the ring for makeup. And honestly, if the Academy ever wanted to pay attention to violence in makeup and that sort of thing, this would be the film to do it, I think, because it had literally some of the best animatronics I've seen in at least a decade.
Yeah, so, I still need to watch. Well, I've seen part of Terrifier 1, so I definitely should follow up and jump on the train, I suppose, of this and watch some of this. So.
It's not an amazing movie. I will say the makeup aspect is the best part for sure, but it's fun, at least.
Yeah, and that's honestly, I'm in that mood. I want to watch fun films, especially after watching Banshees of Inisherin.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of fun, one of the funnest things for all of us, let's get to our first announcement, which is the reminder for everybody that the Barnes & Noble 50% off sale is happening right now, and it is going until November 28th. That means everything that is a normal Blu-ray release is about $20. All of the standard 4K releases are $25. Most of the 3-film box sets are about $50. And then we really only, the biggest box sets, they really hit somewhere between $100 to $150 for the most part. So it's a great time to pick up some of the stuff that's been on your wish list for a long time. I got quite a bit online and then a couple in person this year. Like I said, video coming out on that soon. I just wanted all the other YouTubers put out their Criterion stuff, so I figured I'd give it a week and then bring the second wind around for Criterion. But genuinely, I've been very cold with Criterion for a couple years, and this year they reined me back in because it has been a stellar year of releases for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like the last few years they've kind of fallen behind with a lot of these other labels kind of just picking up steam and then also just being created. I mean, some of these labels like this, their first or second or third year, and so I feel like there's been a lot of movement in that. And so Criterion I know they were late to the 4K game and whatnot and had their own kind of issues with some things, and they still do, especially when it comes in terms like packaging and things like that. But the types of titles like you're talking about that are roping you back in are finally coming out that I feel like they're getting back to kind of online with kind of what they do best, and then also branch out into the things that they want to explore. And I love that. So
yeah, and it's been a year that we've seen things like A Celebration, the Dogma 95 film. We've got announced the Hanukkah box set. We've got Frownland that came out this year. We got Cure finally in the US. We've got all kinds of stuff. It was a pretty small year for box sets, and that was a little bit surprising, but I feel like they're ramping up potentially for some big stuff next year.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised with the lack of a giant big box set, but also, I feel like there's maybe with some of the last ones like Wong Kar-wai and whatnot. There's been some. I don't want to take KB's thunder here, but there's been some little things here and there that some people are a little off the cuff about. So, but
yeah, Criterion's had some QC issues. They've had some problems with most of their box sets the last few years, and then on top of all that, they also just laid off a bunch of people. So who knows what's next for Criterion? But either way, they're moving into some change. It looks like.
Yeah, WALL-E's next. So
the Pixar generation is here. This is a hell of a transition to go from the Criterion sale to Black Friday title coming from Massacre Video, Das Kamabrutal Duel. This is from 1999, coming on DVD only from Massacre Video. They amended their announcement of this. It may not be coming on Black Friday, but shortly after now. Either way, it is a title that's coming soon, and I'm sure we'd be lucky if one of the people watching had ever even heard of this before it was announced.
Bro, what the hell is this release?
Exactly. Next up, I put a video out end of last week for top 10 underappreciated horror from 1995 to 2005. Give it a watch if that's up your alley. I thought it was pretty fun. But then we got potentially one of the biggest Black Friday announcements. This is an Argento film that people have been waiting for a long time. And not only are we getting it in HD, Severance said, screw it, let's jump all the way to 4K. So we're getting Argento's The 5 Days. Some people call this 5 Days of Milan. This is from 1973. We are getting it in UHD. And this is, they even call it here, the only non-horror thriller, at least seen film of his career. Set during 1848's 5-day siege of Milan by the Austrian army, a cynical thief teams with a naive young baker to survive the brutality and absurdity of the Italian Revolution. It's supposed to be violent. It's supposed to have a lot of great drama. I've still not seen this, and I'm so stoked that the first time we'll be able to see it is in 4K. How do you feel about Argento?
I like Argento. I'm still fairly new. I mean, I've seen a lot of the more mainstream films. I've seen Suspiria, of course, and I just watched Demons, which I know he didn't direct, but had a hand in. And I've seen, Bird with a Crystal Plumage and Deep Red and a few of those other films. But I've liked Argento from what I've seen so far. It's been a lot of fun, so I'm super excited about this too. Even though, like I said, I'm not super familiar with this film, so. Yeah.
Josephine wants to know from Nathan, which other animated films would you like to see added to Criterion?
I can think of two off the top of my head that I would love to see. One is Fantasia. I think, especially with the way that Criterion just did with WALL-E. I mean, that door is already open now. So I think Fantasia would be perfect because I don't feel like Fantasia is talked about enough anymore.
Right.
And I absolutely adore that film. I mean, it's like right there, actually. You can't see it on camera, but anyway, like right there facing this way. And then the other one I was going to say is probably Grave of the Fireflies would be a really fantastic release, I think.
Nice.
That would be a really stellar release. But there's so many animated films, from anime to, obscure things. I think there's a lot of really good opportunity. There's Fantasia right there. So.
Glad we could get that in there.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the features on the 5 days. We got an audio commentary with Troy Howarth and Mondo Digital's Nathaniel Thompson. Then on the rest of it, we got an interview with the director, interview with screenwriter Luigi Cozzi, interview with executive producer Claudio Argento, a whole bunch of other interviews. And then we have a CD on here, which is Giorgio Gaslini for Dario Argento, featuring the full soundtrack for the 5 days, plus 2 tracks from Door into Darkness and 7 tracks from Deep Red. I love that Severance still includes CDs with a whole bunch of these.
Yeah, I used to be. I used to work at a record store, but man, I wish I still had a CD player. I guess my DVD and Blu-ray player is like the only thing that can play CD.
Yeah, that's true.
Anymore.
Let's see. Nerd says, haven't seen Fantasia since I was a kid. Stan wants Mad God on Criterion. Have you seen Mad God yet?
I've heard of it, yeah.
It is mostly stop motion animation. I believe it's still available on Shudder. RLJE and Shudder are putting out a Blu-ray. I think it's going to be in a steelbook here in either the end of the month or December or something like that.
Well, I'm in because I love stop motion. I'm a big Harryhausen fan, so I'm in. So.
Next up from Kino, we got the announcement for A World Apart starring Barbara Hershey. This has an audio commentary with Sean Slovo, moderated by Daniel Creamer. This is from 88, like I said, South Africa in 1963. Communist Gus Roth is forced to flee Johannesburg to escape arrest, leaving his activist wife, Diana, to continue their crusade against apartheid. I love Barbara Hershey, so this is one I've never seen, and I am probably going to check out as soon as possible. I love stories like this as well.
Yeah, I'm interested in things like this too, and I've never actually heard of this film. But yeah, this looks interesting. I'm a big fan of dramas.
Yeah, this one, I as far as I'm aware, flew very under the radar. And it's got Tim Roth. I love Tim Roth.
I'm in.
The Crusades from 1935 is coming to Kino Lorber in 2023. This, just like Flickering Waves here, it says in the comment, after looking at the poster, I had to read up on the movie to make sure we were talking about the same Crusades. This is an odd poster for a film called The Crusades.
Yeah, it's a little off-putting. I will say.
Speaking of Barbara Hershey, thoughts on the movie Hoosiers? Have you seen Hoosiers, Nathan?
Yeah, of course. I'm a big Pacers fan, so I'm a big Indiana basketball fan, so I love Hoosiers. So, yeah.
Yeah, Nathan's a big fan of the Malice in the Palace.
Yes, I am. And if anyone's from Detroit, then sorry. I'm glad we fought.
I will never forget that night for the rest of my life.
Oh, man. What? Yeah.
Bug from
nice.
William Friedkin is coming on 4K from Kino Lorber. This is one that is making a huge leap. I never expected this to get a 4K. This is from 2006 and is actually pretty good. Stars Ashley Judd, Michael Shannon, and Harry Connick Jr. Just give me all of the Friedkin straight into my veins. Have you seen this one? This one's a little obscure for a lot of people.
I remember renting it back in the day, but
Nice.
I don't remember much though. But I do remember being like freaked out, and so. But I'm in now that I'm adult. I'm an adult now. I can't talk. Apparently, I'm not an adult. So.
I'm curious what's going on because they're doing this, and then they also announced To Live and Die in L.A., which is also Friedkin, but that was announced like a year ago, and we still don't have a date on it yet. So I'm wondering when these are going to come out. So we'll see.
Hopefully soon.
Next up, the next announcement from Severin. We are getting The Dogs, which stars Gerard Depardieu. This is put out by the same director as Shock Treatment that they put out last year. This is similar to White Dog, if you've ever seen it. This has an interview with the composer and then interview with cultural poing film critic Emmanuel Lagagne. And this one sounds pretty interesting too. I don't think we've ever talked about Severin together. Are you into Severin much? Do you have anything from them even?
Yeah, I mean, I have all the Hans Bjar's box set, which
that's right.
a massive fan of. And then I have a few other titles from them, but yeah, for the most part, I am fairly, I guess, novice to a lot of their titles. There's a couple of titles that have went out of print that I would love to get, but
right.
Something like this does sound interesting. I mean, I love that cover. That cover's sweet. So, yeah.
Video Manon says, "Why is The Dog similar to White Dog?" Because I love White Dog. Well, let's go into the synopsis a little bit. You'll see it. It actually sounds pretty similar. It says, this startling thriller that remains the most controversial and prescient film of his career. In a corporate suburb outside Paris, the community's new doctor discovers its leading citizens all get their dogs from a wealthy, charismatic trainer. Dogs that have a ferocious appetite for immigrants, rowdy youths, people of color, and anyone who challenges the status quo. Yeah, I mean, that sounds great.
Well, does it sound great, or it sounds
not
like
morally great, but super entertaining.
Right. Man, yeah, that sounds like something I'd watch. I've been eyeing that.
Yeah, I definitely got to keep an eye on this one for sure. Oh gosh, I forgot I had this too. I put out an interview with Eugenio Ercolani, who is a boots on the ground person for 88 Films. Recently started with Vinegar Syndrome, doing stuff for Treasured Films and all kinds of other labels in Italy. Interviewed him while he was in Rome. If you are interested, give that video a watch. Then February 7th, Kino is putting out If I Were King from 1938 with Basil Rathbone. I think this one's probably much more up your alley than mine.
I do like some Rathbone. But yeah, I love these late 30s dramas, and looks like almost like a swashbuckler of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an epic. Yeah, I'm in.
The best thing with these with Kino is if you just wait till the next sale, this will probably only be like $8.
Oh yeah, no, I'll wait. Yeah,
they drop pretty quickly. Then we got an announcement that RLJE is putting out Creepshow Season 3 for Shudder. This is going to have an hour of bonus content, including interview with Greg Nicotero, Matty Doe, Rusty Cundiff, Michael Rooker, and James Raymar. moderated by Clark Collis, and then some behind-the-scenes stuff, a comic art booklet, behind-the-scenes photo gallery, and all 6 episodes on Blu-ray. Creepshow, for anybody that has checked out, seems to be getting a little better even. I'd say season 3 had some of the better stories, and it's pretty good overall.
I've only seen the first season, which was a little bit of a mixed bag for me, but hearing that it's
very hit or miss.
Yeah, I was going to say, hearing that it's gotten better is giving me hope to now go back into it and start watching it again. Because I love this kind of anthology stuff, so I'm a big fan.
Nathan, ever seen The Court Jester with Danny Kaye?
I have not. It sounds interesting though. sounds like my life. So I'm in already.
Kind of sad news. We got an announcement that BFI's release of Watership Down has been canceled. Not only is the movie itself depressing, but this is pretty damn depressing news. Watership Down, first of all, how do you feel about the movie?
I adore this film, and I also adore the book. So adore might be the wrong word, because it's a very tragic and very real type of fiction, if you will. But yeah, I'm really bummed about this, because I pre-ordered this when it was first announced. So Speaking of films that are in the Criterion Collection, that's the only way you can get it on Blu-ray now.
At the moment, at least. So for those that don't know, BFI is at least partially funded for some public funds for the arts through the government in the UK. And I this hasn't been confirmed, but I would not be surprised at all if they just had some of that funding withheld and they were unable to go through with this release, because I'm willing to bet this was going to be an expensive one, and this would be early on the chopping block. This is a truly great movie, and a release that I was desperately looking forward to. I got to be honest. I really wanted this on 4K. The packaging looked great. I hope somebody else picks up the mantle. Because usually by the time they announce like that, restoration work is either very underway or already done. So I could easily see Criterion putting out a 4K of that and just taking some of the elements from overseas. Sure. But this is one that really hit hard today. I really hope that we get this from somebody else. But
yeah, I think that Second Sight maybe in the UK might be something that could work. I don't know. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that could be a contender for sure. Next up, Sorrowful Jones from 1949 is coming from Kino on February 7th. This one is super intriguing to me, primarily because of the cast. I mean, how do you go wrong with Bob Hope and Lucille Ball in the same film? I've never seen this, but good gosh, this sounds really good.
Yeah. Sounds like well, first of all, it's got my name in it. So.
I was going to make the joke. I'm glad you did.
I mean, it's there, you know. But yeah, no, that cast is a lot of fun. So that's got to be a fun movie. And it almost looks like we got maybe a talking animal involved, but I don't think there's any talking animal in here. No mules or anything.
Screen legends Bob Hope and Lucille Ball unite for the first time in this heartwarming story spun from Damon Runyon's famous fable about a penny-pinching Broadway bookie called Sorrowful Jones. Sorrowful takes a bet from a rotten gambler who leaves his young daughter as collateral. Jesus Christ. When the bettor doesn't come back, Sorrowful Jones learns some hard lessons about parenthood, whether he wants to or not. On top of that, Lucy plays nightclub singer Gladys O'Neill, the apple of Sorrowful's eye, but gangster Bruce Cabot stakes his claim on her affections, and the sparks fly in all directions. A remake of the 1934 Shirley Temple film called Little Miss Marker. This wonderful version from director Sidney Landfield marks Hope's debut as a bona fide actor. So doesn't sound like any talking horse.
No, then maybe one day we can get a remake of this with the talking horse.
Mr. Ed's great grandson stars in. Wow. This is possibly the biggest news of the week, so let's dive into this. TerrorVision, the Vinegar Syndrome partner label, announced they are no longer a Vinegar Syndrome partner label, just as I was starting to speculate about 6 weeks ago on here, because all of their titles were showing up on the going out of print list on Vinegar Syndrome's website, and that means all of them, not the ones that were just limited. It was basically saying when these are gone, they are gone. And now we found out why. They have announced basically a subscription called TerrorVision Video Club. It is a subscription model for Blu-ray and 4K releases. The premise is simple. You can join whenever you want and receive the next 10 TerrorVision Blu-ray titles as they are released. So this is very similar to Oscilloscope's subscription model where you just get the next 10. This means you will pay a discounted amount instead of the regular retail price for every Blu-ray. You will be guaranteed a slipcover for every single release. You will get a TerrorVision Video Club t-shirt, and you will get a login to the TV Club wholesale page where you can buy other TV products for cheap, such as merch, cassettes, vinyl records, and other goodies. You will also not pay for shipping domestically. But the bigger part of this announcement, coming in the future to our home video label will be more shot on video, lost films, original TerrorVision productions, UHD, slashers, and more. Here are a few examples. Leading off the slate, 1990s Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout will be making its Blu-ray debut. If you have never seen this, cheesy as all get out. Linnea Quigley and a whole bunch of people in horror makeup literally working out.
I'm in.
Santa Claus, CLAWS, will make its Blu-ray debut with the brand new 4K scan of the original 16mm negative. The very unavailable Attack of the Killer Refrigerator, Hook of Woodland Heights, and a Lost Christmas SOV from the same filmmakers called Days Before Christmas will all be making their Blu-ray debut from TerrorVision. This will also include the documentary Snapper, which was their unfinished Killer Turtle film. I mean, that line got me today. I read that and went, I have to see that. They also have the film Copperhead slithering its way on Blu-ray debut of a kind of lost SOV classic. And then they also announced that Happy Hell Night will make its 4K debut with a new 4K scan of the OCN. Happy Hell Night is good, not super great, but I'm glad to see them jumping right into 4K. Now, the big question, cost, and it is $225. So if you just go across the board just for the films, $22 a piece with free shipping. I mean, overall, not terrible. And then you get a free shirt on top of that.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, with all the titles they've got announced, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a great deal. I don't necessarily know if this would be like up my alley, but I think for the people who are interested in this kind of stuff, I think this is a cool way to go about it, because this is, like you're saying, Oscilloscope does this, and I don't really feel like this is a type of tactic that's used much, which is really interesting. But seems fun.
I have a feeling we're going to start seeing a lot more subscription services from some of these labels here in the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Would not surprise me at all, especially after all the success of Vinegar Syndrome. Yeah,
especially how not to get into the fun nitty gritty of the economy, but I feel like this would make more sense. You know? Yeah. So
guaranteed discounts right now, always a good thing. Cohen Media, they announced that they are putting out Jacques Rivette's The Gang of Four. Nathan, are you familiar with Jacques Rivette?
I am. I've seen a few films from that director, and I've really enjoyed. I've seen some of his late 80s and early 90s work, and I've liked pretty much every movie I've seen. So I'm interested in. I'm always a big fan of Cohen and the things that they put out. I'm always interested. I don't feel like Cohen's ever really talked about much. Which
I've been singing their praises for the last couple of weeks, but really no one else hardly ever talks about Cohen, and they are great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. A lot of good international films.
A lot of people hate the way they brand their front covers, but I really, really enjoy it. They all look identical. They all look really good on the shelf. But the big thing is they just put so much love into each of their discs. They all work really well. They've got good features usually. I'm always happy with Cohen Media for sure.
Here's some right here.
Nice. Which ones you got?
Women Make Film, Thief of Baghdad, It's a hard film to watch. The Liberator, right here.
Nice.
Let's see. There's The Beautiful Troublemaker, right here. I don't know. There's a glare. And then finally, The Insult.
The Insult, very nice. They've certainly been ramping up their releases too. They've been announcing like 6 new titles in the last couple months, which is really rare for them.
Certainly.
Yeah, certainly. We will talk about premiums in just a little bit. So that's it of the regular announcements. It's only been 41 minutes. We even hung out before this. It has been such a slow week for announcements. So KB is here, and he said he got back from Wakanda. That's why he's late.
I also watched Wakanda, so we can talk later.
Let's go into our next segment, which is what is coming out next week. We are getting Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs in 4K. The retail release of Death Game from Grindhouse Releasing is coming. Infernal Affairs trilogy from Criterion, which I'm really hoping the early buzz about the transfers on those turn out to not be super true. Wayne's World on 4K from Paramount. Used Cars on 4K from Shout Factory. Pearl finally gets its release, so I can hopefully finally watch it this week as long as Walmart ships mine.
I haven't seen it either.
I have been dying all freaking year to see this movie.
I saw X in theaters, and
nice.
I do remember being the only friend that stayed after. For some reason in my head, I'm just like, because I didn't hear anything about it, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I feel like there's something after this. And then there was, and then I told all my friends who had already seen the movie, like, and then they're like, wait, there was a trailer? I'm like, yeah, for another movie. And so it just keeps going. So I'm excited to watch Pearl. So
what did you think of X?
I really liked it. I mean, definitely gave me those, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe with a nice mix of body horror and a lot of fun and a lot of other definitely hodgepodge of genres, but also get that Ty West like touch to it, which I quite enjoy. So
that Ty West tension.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sonny Chiba collection coming from Shout Factory. 3,000 Years of Longing on 4K. Blue Hawaii on 4K coming from Paramount Presents. The Little Rascals Complete Collection. I believe this is coming from Classic Flicks. The Diamond Wizard in 3D. That should be a Kino Lorber release. A couple others. I know lots of people are eager to get Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Let's see. Don't forget there's a Walmart exclusive slipcover for Pearl coming out next week. The Valachi Papers coming from Kino Lorber. A Discovery of Witches. Allegoria coming from RLJE and Shudder. Airplane 2, the sequel from Paramount. Got to shout out Both Sides of the Blade, the Juliette Binoche film that's supposed to be great. I've not been able to see that yet, but everybody I trust says it's incredible.
Same.
And yeah, that's it for next week. And anything that you're eager to get next time?
The funny thing is, like, I've been so out of the loop when it comes to like new releases. Like that, I'm unless it's like something like I will say that when this came out, I picked it up. Like obviously, I talked about it earlier.
Of course,
like, I got this immediately when it came out. But yeah, I haven't really been. I mean, I'll definitely get a lot of those titles, but it'll be like an eventually thing.
Yeah, lots of sales.
Yeah, I gotta save money. It's November, December times. There's Christmas, holidays. There's people. There's sales.
Unfortunately, there are people.
There's people. There's people. There's a lot.
So. Let's talk about some premiums. We probably won't spend a whole lot of time on these unless people are super interested. EYK Media announced that they are putting out media books for Hostel, Hostel 2, and Hostel 3. Including a big media book set of all 3. More info coming on that. We don't have any release date, sadly. Next up, on October 18th, Nova Media put out Century of the Dragon, a full slip edition. By the way, if you are like, where are these coming from? Keep in mind, there is a second Instagram account if you are just following The Disconnected. This is from The Disconnected Premiums. This one actually has... really good looking release, and it should be all English subtitled. So if you're interested in this, I believe this is the only way to get this film on Blu-ray, if I remember right.
Looks fun.
Spencer is getting a really nice full sleeve release from Kimchi DVD. This is coming as part of their On collection, is what they call it. This will be number 27. And again, it should be the exact same studio disc with all of the features that had. You got the trailer in there, you got a teaser trailer, a making of, and that's about it. You'll get a couple posters, but yeah, they do all kinds of fancy releases for these things.
I love that movie though, so I kind of want to get this because I have the vinyl soundtrack, the Johnny Greenwood.
Nice,
it's so good.
Very nice. What's the cover of the vinyl? Did they go with the wedding dress photo?
It's the wedding dress photo. Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
Yeah,
that is probably a great release. On October 25th, Kimchi DVD put out The Hut from 1981 in a full slip release. This one, I believe, is English friendly. Yep, English friendly as well. And if I remember right, I think this is, again, another one where you can only get this on Blu-ray here. Then we are getting Sofa Cinema released a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse full slip steelbook. This is very similar to the other Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse stuff that was released elsewhere, but they've got multiple versions that you can pick up. Sofa Cinema, I have a few of their releases, and they're pretty dang good. KB, I did just today. I have not opened it yet, but I will take a look at it. In fact, I will pull it out before the end of this, I promise. Let me make sure I have it before I say that.
He doesn't have it.
I do. I'm fairly certain I do.
I have the steelbook of the Into the Spider-Verse. I think, yeah, because that cover, the first one at least was the cover of the steelbook, right?
Yes,
the initial one. Yeah, that's a great steelbook, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't collect steelbooks.
Great movie too.
Great movie. So that's the reason I picked it up. Yeah. So loves Into the Spider-Verse.
KB, it says that there is English language. I don't see English subtitles, but it's a film from the U.S., so it's got the original audio on here at least. I'm not sure if it's English subtitled, but let me pull this down for a second so everybody can see. This is the German 4K media book of Men that just came in. We are talking about some of the media books right now, so may as well show that off. I will happily unwrap this as well. Try not to damage the corners since media books are super fragile sometimes. Do you have any media books?
Yeah, I have a couple. I have the Concubine over there on the other side of the shelf, and a couple of like older media. Like I have King Kong like media book that I know it's kind of hard to find, but not really so much on the boutique side of things. There's probably a couple that I'm just not noticing right now, but I'd like to get more.
This one is really well done. It looks sort of 3D the way that they did some of the spot gloss on the front here. And then here is the back.
Yeah, that looks really good.
And then of course everything's in German. So to read this, I will have to hold up Google Lens because as you'll see in the booklet, all in German.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Celine Sciamma is all in is Korean, and so Google Lens it. Yeah.
Some of those Korean releases, they do really nice where the first half of the booklet is Korean and the second half is English.
The same with that, but I would like to read there because there is some just Korean things that aren't translated, and I'm like, I would like to read that too, but So.
Yeah. Coming soon from Nova Media is the movie Annette. And I do think we got some details on this later in the show, I believe. Cinemuseum is putting out The Exorcist, and they are allowing for a 4K upgrade on their disc, which pretty much confirms that Warner Brothers is putting out I'm not even sharing. Hello. That Warner Brothers is putting out a 4K of The Exorcist next year.
Oh, my goodness.
This is not completely confirmed, but
Sure.
there's no way that they would do this in Italy and not the US. So I think we can pretty much confirm that we will be getting a 4K of The Exorcist next year.
I'm absolutely in.
Ice is asking, have you guys heard of Korean Film Archive? I've heard the title. I don't think I have anything from them.
I mean, I just have. I mean, are you talking about a plain archive or film archive?
I believe it's actually called Korean Film Archive.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I don't know.
And Video Manin is I was about to say this. He says, don't order from Cinemuseum. They do some not great stuff. I would pay attention to that. And at least if you're going to get it secondhand and try to spend less than it cost when it came out. Nerd of the 80s has a martial law trilogy media book. Very nice.
I will ask. I don't know why this came up in my head, but are you going to be getting the Vim Vendors box set when it?
Ooh, it's a good question because that release looks remarkable.
Yeah.
I
clicked in my head. I was like, I kind of want that, but what a price.
Yeah, it all really depends. Like if Orbit gets it in, and because there's no shipping, it's way more reasonable than maybe. Right now, it is vastly too expensive for me.
Right, and I already have a good number of those films.
Right,
not a lot, but a good number.
What's crazy is the box set doesn't even include Wings of Desire on 4K. It's only got it on Blu-ray. I still don't understand why they did that.
Like, well, they want to sell it separately.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Nerd of the 80s is asking, what is this box set? There's a really nice Vim Vendors box set coming from, is it Cinema Arcana?
I don't know the name because I never recognized it, but
I talked about it on here like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
It was not announced that long ago.
And it's kind of under the radar. So you asking that question, Nerd of the 80s, is valid because I don't feel like most people know about it just yet. So
yeah,
but
I think once people start getting it in hand, that's one of those releases that'll explode in popularity. I think. Even the outside of the box on that thing looked gorgeous. November 24th, Kimchi DVD and IVE Entertainment are putting out a version of Drive My Car from last year. And this release looks pretty nice. It's got a 36-page book. It's a digipack, full slip release. And if this is your thing, this is your thing. It's going to be limited, just like all of their other stuff. And you can pre-order it now. I believe it is not sold out last I checked. Kick-Ass is getting a special release from Zavvi. I don't think this sold out, but it was available on October 21st. This got a 4K exclusive steelbook from Zavvi. This looks really nice. I really want this poster in the bottom left here.
Become a superhero today.
And it's got a gloss steelbook, high gloss rigid slipcase, 36-page book, 5 art cards, and a double-sided poster.
There's not enough room on my wall to have all the posters that I keep getting.
I just bought another one of those poster portfolios so I can have them out and just flip through all of them. But then I've been collecting a whole bunch of 24 by 36 posters, and those don't fit in something like that. So
no, I have 27 by 48s like behind me, and like that's dumb because it's like that's an actual movie poster. Like there's not enough room for that.
I would love to frame up some of the nicer Scream Factory lithographs, but those are just oddly shaped, kind of. They're like 28 by 16, something like that, 28 and a half by 16 and a half.
Getting things framed, by the way, in the States and getting like UK related things, oh my God, like just the amount of times I've had to go to Michael's or trying to get on Amazon, just trying to get these funky frames. Yeah, it's fun. Let's just say that.
Next up, 2001: A Space Odyssey got a really nice one-click release from Mantalab. You can buy any of their exclusive little full slip or lenticular full slips, but we got some really nice beauty shots here. The steelbook itself limited to only 3,000. 900 of them will be one-clicks, 600 of each individual. The funniest part of this entire release, though, is that they are selling a monolith from the film as part of this box set.
Sick. I love it.
And then here is a beauty shot of all the character cards, 36-page booklets, postcards, envelopes. I mean, I got to be honest, this looks really nice for this movie. I just wish I loved the movie a little bit more.
Sure. Is this the Christopher Nolan Redux kind of? Probably. You think?
What do you mean?
Like what he did with the HDR and.
Oh, I think this is probably the exact same studio disc.
Probably,
so
yeah.
I'd imagine so. Yes, this is what I was just talking about a minute ago. So Nova Media, they announced a net, and here are the beauty shots for it. They've got a full slip available, then the case shot here, and you got some postcards at the bottom. This is also going to be subtitled in English, and the language will be in English, of course, since it is an English film. There are going to be a full features on this. We got a Q&A with Ron Mayel and Russell Mayel, and a trailer. That's it. But this deserve, like, I don't even think there's a release for this in the States at all yet.
No, and I've been wanting to watch this for some time now. So
I know there's a Region B release, and now this is the first Region A release, but it's Nova Media, so it's hard to get.
Did Movie put it out on?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. That makes sense. So, yeah.
TerraVision is also sort of a premium, so I wanted to make sure everybody that was following this one could see it there. Let's see, coming soon from World Cinema Library on 4K. Oh, wait, that was not just the Blu-ray thing. Let me go back to that. This is their cassette club. I totally forgot. This is just for anybody that, just like the Blu-ray club, TerraVision has a cassette club. And some of the things they're putting out is Chopping Mall, Neon Maniacs, Waxwork, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and a few more. So if you sign up for this, just like the Blu-ray, you get their next 10 cassette releases. Releases.
The funny thing, I mean, and I know you know this, but like the funny thing about people who collect cassettes and whatnot, it's mostly people in metal and also in these horror type of films fans. You know, that's I love the crossover there. So this is pretty cool.
I can't deny, in the last 30 days, I have paid for a cassette.
I like it. I'm in.
World Cinema Library announced Hibiscus Town on 4K. This is coming soon. We do not have a release date on this yet, but this is the only way to get this on 4K at the moment, and the art on this set looks stupendous. This is one of those releases that when it comes out overseas, it just immediately goes, I don't need it, but I really want it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It is just so pretty. I really wish we had somebody that was doing premium releases like this in the States.
Yeah, I feel like A24 is kind of ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, something like that is kind of what I'm talking about, but not to this extent, you know. So
for this, it is going to be a 3-disc set. You got the 4K, you got Blu-ray with the film on it, and then disc 3 is going to have all kinds of special features on it. But the overall package has one full slip to house all of the special items that it comes with, which is a large poster, a script book, a 124-page booklet, 6 postcards, 2 movie posters, and then, like I said, the entire outer box to hold everything. There is a group buy available now, so if you're into Media Psychos or High Def Ninja or any of that, that is where you would go to get this right now. Let's see. Curzon Film, they're the ones that's putting out the Wim Wenders box set.
Yep. That sounds familiar.
Not Cinema Arcana. That is correct. Yeah, the Midsummer release is so odd because you put it in and it says, do you want subtitles? No? Okay, here we go. And that's it.
Well, isn't it like it's the extended too, though, right? So
it is, yeah, and it's 4K if you got the 4K release.
Which I did. They're tricky about that. Anyone who's buying A24 on their site, always click down on the drop down arrow if you want to get 4K. It's the same price. So yeah, always go for that though.
Next up, Wheels on Meals from 1984. The Jackie Chan classic is coming on November 25th from Nova Media. This is going to be one of their full slip releases, and it looks pretty good. Got to be honest. And this will be subtitled in English.
That looks fun.
Classic German media book here. November 18th from Shock Entertainment in a media book with 3 different cover options in Germany. We are getting Guts of a Virgin from 1986. Here is cover number 2, and had to censor that, of course. And cover number 3, What the Hell Is This?
That's clearly
Claymation.
Claymation. Yeah. It's a claymation, almost meets the Feebles.
Yep.
Yeah.
After a photo shoot, photographers and models spend the night together in a nearby vacant house. They shouldn't have done that because a nasty monster is walking around in the area, which will soon cause fear and terror. That's the most odd, vague synopsis I've read in a long time. Also known as Entrails of a Virgin.
Huh. More you know.
Video Man says, I bought the Dark Knight trilogy Mother Box 4K Blu-ray from HD Zeta. Sells from 2,000 euros to 5,000 euros on eBay. Got it for 300 euros. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm out. That's too much.
No thanks. Speaking of Men, the movie we just talked about, on December 2nd, Nova Media is putting out a Men full slip. This can be pre-ordered starting on November 18th. This is going to have English subtitles and English language. And once again, this full slip looks really nice, actually. The art they use on these releases is stupendous.
I'm big on that case shot. I love that. I mean, I haven't seen the film yet, but that initial teaser trailer with just the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like that. To me, I'm like, I want more of those trailers, like The Shining, just the elevator shot trailers. Like, just give me those. Like, just tease me and don't say anything else about the movie. That's all I want with trailers.
I would agree there. Next up, we are getting a pretty big release from Media CS in Germany. Vinegar Syndrome licensed out their release of Thriller, and they call her One Eye. This is coming on 4K in a media book in Germany with 5 different art options. Let's cycle through those 5 now, and some of these are really good, actually. I like this one, even though it's a little more comic booky. This one's a classic, same as the one that is on the slipcover for Vinegar Syndrome. And then that one as well. And then this is the whole package. And they're doing what Vinegar Syndrome should have done, damn it. They're selling these with an eye patch. How did we not get a Vinegar Syndrome art eye patch with the logo on the eye patch? Like, that was obvious.
Yeah. Obvious? No, this is a stretch. It's also late, and I'm near my bedtime, so I'm gonna say some funny things. Aren't?
That's fine. Thankfully, it'll go pretty short tonight. This one, I don't think we have a date. No date on this yet. All 5 of the covers are limited to 1,000 run each, and it looks like they're going to be getting almost all of the features from the Vinegar Syndrome release, and they're all going to have, what is it? I think it's 6 discs. 6 discs or 7 discs. It's a crazy release. Let's see. I think it said on that last page. 2 4Ks, 4 Blu-rays, and for some reason 2 DVDs.
Why not? And also 1 VHS.
And half of a Betamax. Each one of these releases will have a 92-page booklet, 5 postcards, a poster, and an eye patch. Pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's sick. This is one of the cooler releases we've talked about tonight. The eye patch is what solidifies it.
Right? How did Vinegar? I don't know. Wicked Vision, in their podcast, which is unfortunately only in German, announced a whole bunch of titles coming in 2023. We are getting Diary of a Madman, Night Game, Lisa, The Apple, The Dungeon Master, The Dead Next Door, Kaltiki, The Immortal Monster, New Year's Evil, Dead Heat is getting its second 4K release, a double feature of A Pistol for Ringo and The Return of Ringo, the Snake film, that was great for all of the audio listeners, I apologize, Monster Man, Mask of the Red Death, Zone Troopers, Shrunken Heads, Robot Jocks, and they announced that the Black Cinema Collection Volume 2 will have Hammer, Cotton Comes to Harlem, In the Heat of the Night on 4K, and more.
That's a hell of a lineup.
That is a hell of a lineup. That's so much at once. We also got an announcement that Play On Pictures in Germany is putting out a 4K media book of Howard the Duck. Love the cover art on this. It should be the same as the Steelbook was in the US. The big thing, this release is going to have Dolby Vision when the US 4K release did not have Dolby Vision. Now, I will warn, a lot of the German releases that claim to have Dolby Vision, they are fake Dolby Vision passes. They will go in and basically just apply some saturation and call it Dolby Vision and format it as Dolby Vision on the disc. So I don't know how good this is going to be. Just throwing it out there. If you love media books, you may want it. And if it is an actual upgrade, hey, it might be a great upgrade over the US disc. How do you feel about Howard the Duck? Have you seen this one?
Yes, I have. What a crazy film. Yeah, there's a lot of movie moments that are seared into my mind because when I watched this at a certain age. There's some nice creative choices, I suppose. Is what I would say.
This is the first movie that ever made me cry.
And a good
Genuinely.
way, emotionally?
Nope, I was scared to death. Flickering Wave says, so folks are having to translate podcast to get news. Crazy. Thankfully, I had somebody that submitted it to me, so I didn't have to worry about it. Kyle says, I love Howard the Duck. I mean, it's decent.
It made him cry, so come on, guys. Don't push him too far.
I'm a big fan of the Mondo X Steelbook line. Lots of people in the US have many of these, and I don't love how the last couple of years they are only doing Marvel releases. And sadly, it looks like that is continuing into 2023 because they have just announced that 4 more Mondo Marvel team-up releases are coming in March. This will be available from probably Zavvi and a few other retailers like Amazon Germany and Fnac in France, a couple other releases possibly. Captain America Civil War is the first one here. Next one is Thor Ragnarok or Thor Tag der Entscheidung. I don't speak German. Ant-Man and the Wasp, a pretty sad and uninspired cover in my opinion.
It's kind of
and then finally, go ahead.
It's kind of like I was going to say it's a nuclear weapon, like very 50s, almost Incredible Man type of poster. But
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And then we got Captain Marvel. There is another Mondo poster for Captain Marvel, and I really wish they would use that other one, but this isn't terrible.
Movie's fine.
The hard part is I've got all of the other Mondo X Steelbooks, so immediately I'm like, I feel compelled to get these 4, but
right.
Frickin' Marvel, come on.
I know. Well, go watch Black Panther, everyone. See, I'm shilling. So
shilling for the little company that could, Disney.
Very little company.
Shamrock Media in Germany is putting out a few films. We got Cheetah on Fire from 1992 coming in a media book with Donnie Yen. Sidekicks with Chuck Norris coming in a metal pack. And then Faust from 2000 coming in a metal pack as well. I don't understand why anybody is still using metal packs in 2022. But here we are. I think this also is a good indicator. We had sort of had it spoiled from another website that Vinegar Syndrome is supposed to release Sidekicks on 4K eventually. So with this getting announced, I'm willing to bet that that's very much true, and we will be getting that from Vinegar Syndrome eventually.
I'm waiting for them to get those DVD cases that have like the plastic, like little things at the end.
The snapper cases?
Snapper cases. Bring those back, right? I mean, everyone loves those things.
Blue Fans is putting out a one-click for The Prestige from 2006. This is going to be available soon on the group buy sites, and this is getting a few different releases that will go in the one click, so you can get the full slip, you can get the lenticular. I love this movie. I will not be getting this release. That's for sure.
I'm in the same boat on both occasions.
I still think this may be my favorite Nolan.
My favorite's Interstellar.
I get that.
And yeah, I cry every time I watch it, even though it's so cheesy and so like, why do you cry about that? Like, it's because I'm emotional. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's it. That's our first premium show. That's all of our announcements. Somehow we did all of that in 71 minutes tonight.
shoot. Well, I have a few other things I can show.
Please, by all means.
I did, speaking, because I know that Vinegar Syndrome's having their sale soon. And I know was on their site with one of their partner labels, Deaf Crocodile, just recently had a sale, and I got this.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm super excited to check this out. Sharam Mokri, is that how you say it?
Either that or Mokri, one of the two.
Mokri, yeah. But anyway, very excited about this, especially if Abbas Kiarostami talks highly of this director.
Yeah.
But this looks like a lot of fun, and I've heard really good things about this, so wanted to bring that up.
A lot of the people on my Discord have loved one or two of the films on that.
Well, it's good to hear.
Supposed to be great.
Yeah, because I'll have to pick your brain like last time, I guess the halfway to Black Friday sale. That was one of the times I was on the show, and you convinced me to buy things that night.
And if I remember right, that was your first time getting anything from Vinegar Syndrome, right?
It was like my first, because I had a couple. I had the Incubus, and I had maybe one other film that I had, but not very many. But this is the one where I'm like, I'm gonna get all these different films. So I would love for people to kind of recommend some things, and yourself included, for this next sale. So.
Happily. All right. Any questions for Nathan? Anything that you want to tease coming out on the channel? Oh, we were going to talk about, you also went to Europe recently. You want to share about some of the things you got to see?
Yeah. I back in July, I took half a month and I went over to the UK. I was able to go to England, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, and I actually met a few of fellow YouTubers. Actually, I was able to meet film blogger Sam, who's been a friend of mine for a long time, Chris Moen, and I also met Davey from Cinema. I always say his name wrong, and it's hilarious. Cinema Picks and Music Flicks. He's a funny Scottish lad. But anyway, I saw all those wonderful people, but then also was able to see just so many things. I went to FOP, which was super exciting to go to in person, and being it's just nice to see 88 films all on a big shelf, and Arrow all on a big thing, and all these different labels that we don't really necessarily have as much access to here in the States. But yeah, it was so much fun. It was literally the best vacation I've ever had. I saw so many things. I met so many people. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And guess what? I traveled by myself, met some friends, but the rest of the whole adventure was mostly, me on my own. And I think that's the best way to travel. That's just me though.
K-Dog says, Nathan, can you recommend one movie from the Shawscope box Volume 1?
I can. It's actually right behind me. It's in a glare. The Shawscope box. 5 Deadly Venoms. It's one of my favorites, and I know that KB just said it right there. Yeah, I have a 5 Deadly Venoms shirt and a poster right over there in the middle.
Nice.
So it's that. There's just so many great films on that list of things. And actually, I did a really great video with Flip Otaku where we broke down the box set and talked about it on my channel. And so really recommend that. And also just the fact that I was able to talk to Flip because he knows a lot more about this stuff than me. So.
And me.
But it was a lot of fun. I loved it.
Cam loves him some food. What did you get to eat over in Europe?
When I was in Scotland, I had haggis and black pudding, which was really cool. And Northern Ireland, that was the Irish breakfast, which is a twist on the English breakfast, but better. Anyone who's from England, sorry, but I also really love the English breakfast, and I had some really great beer over there. I guess Brewdog is a really great brewery over there that has quite a bit of. I guess it even is in the States as well. I know it's had some controversial things in the past, but the beer tastes good, so I don't know. But yeah, I had a lot of good food, so highly recommend their food.
No
Wow.
absinthe?
Yeah, absinthe here. I don't need it. I actually have a question for everyone in the chat. Have any of you tried? Gosh dang it! Now I'm blanking on it. I'm literally just picturing it. Son of a gun! Hold on, I had to figure this out. I figured it out. Have any of you figured out? Have any of you ever had Malort?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's my real question. Is it? Ryan has.
Once, a long time ago.
Yeah, anyone tricky into drinking Malort?
No thanks.
Yeah, okay. Well, Ryan, what do you like? If you ever have any liquor or like beer or anything like that, what do you prefer?
The sad thing is I drink so little, I don't have any like brand allegiance necessarily, but I'm just mostly a cocktail person. I really have never found a beer that I can stand to even have a full glass of.
Sure.
So I'm like, I love me an old fashioned.
Yeah. So I guess vodka based things more.
I like vodka, like tequila, like whiskey. I'm
Yeah.
all about it.
Gin's my favorite. So, and when I do a cocktail,
That makes sense.
I'm all about everything.
Let's see. I got Ruben saying same question about Volume 1. I gotta be honest, it's just kind of an incredible box set. It's really hard to narrow down to one or two. The 5 Venoms, Crippled Avengers is really good. The 5 Shaolin Masters, obviously great. Shaolin Temple. The whole box set is incredible, and now everybody's talking about Volume 2 already.
Which I still need to get in my. I mean, I have it ordered, but
Diabolic still hasn't shipped any. Is that where you got yours?
I believe I got mine directly from Arrow, so they're going to push it back a month. So, but Boxer from Shantung is a really, really great film that I love. And then, 5 Deadly Venoms, Crippled Avengers, and Dirty Ho is so much fun too. Jeez, like that's one of the more fun films of the set. And then if you want to, you can watch that silly Mighty Peking Man film, which is a nice throw in.
Well, Dirty Ho just reminded me of something. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good.
Anything you want to plug coming up, because that reminded me of something I got to throw out there for next week.
I would say that I think both of us have some videos of our adventures that are coming up. I think mine's coming out on Sunday, yours Wednesday,
somewhere around there.
Yeah, but it'll be a fun mix, hodgepodge of things, and getting those adventures we had last weekend, and then then other than that, like Vinegar Syndrome's coming up with their Black Friday sale, and I'm trying to think of anything else. Is there anything else that I'm missing that
there's one more thing, but Nathan and I still can't talk about it till Monday. There's something really damn exciting. Everybody needs to come back to the channel on Monday for probably the biggest announcement I've had on the channel yet. It's going to be pretty big for the rest of the year. That will get announced on Monday, and then I'm going to throw out there for next. I'm gonna change my schedule a little bit. I think our shopping video will come out on Friday. Next Wednesday, I've got an interview coming out with Arna Venema and his partner in crime, Big Mike Leader, both Hong Kong people, and it is incredible. If you are a patron of mine, you would have seen that interview already because it's available in the Discord, but I am so stoked for all of you to see this. They make a joke about Dirty Ho, which is why it reminded me about that. Absolutely incredible time talking to those gents. That will be out next Wednesday. But like I said, biggest news, come back on Monday. We are going to have an announcement that is going to change the rest of the year for me and for a lot of people that watch this channel. And it involves Nathan too.
Uh-oh.
All right. I think that's it. I just mentioned them, but want to throw out that, as usual, thank the patrons. You guys are the big thing that is able to help me keep this going, because Nathan is the only one that gets rich off YouTube. Just kidding. Nobody makes any money.
I don't make any money.
No. Yeah, nobody will ever make money doing this. So thank you guys. All that being said, I appreciate it from the two of us to all of you. Have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday.
Now jonesing around.